Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. We're back today with issue 19 of the Hachette partworks release of Titanic, the ship, the legend. So, as always, looking at the magazine, we have an article on multimillionaire John Jacob Astor, who was one of the richest men in the world at the time. Played in the Titanic movie in 1997 by the same man who played Bruno von Stinkel in Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. Just as an aside. Yeah, that's the funeral cortege for him. Obviously his body was never recovered, but yeah. Again, Titanic has a kind of narrative inspiration. And then we move on to the instructions. Quite a lot of instructions today, so not as many articles. And I think this one's going to be the longest video we've had by quite some distance. So without further ado, let's have a look at the parts. Okay, so we've got our brown box here. And as always, opening it up, we have package number 1 and package number 2, and I do believe that is all. As always, opening up to show you, and again for my own reference. So, inside this little parcel, again quite a fair amount here. We have EP screws, we have one of the funnel details, we also have the second smoke generator, and we have the two grills for the top of the funnels. I'm not sure why they're giving us two of them. We have details for the outside of the funnels, both of them, and we have the details that go in the deck section. And inside the other little package, we also have the second kind of parts of the second funnel. So, now that we've got all our bits and pieces here, what are we going to be doing? Well, for this stage, we need these decking sections that we worked on previously, which, as I've mentioned before, they hook together thus. Looking very impressive, but we're going to be working on the funnels. So, let's get started. Okay, so the first part we need is this piece here that came in the last issue, and we need the smoke generator. Now the smoke generator goes in here like this. I'm just going to check that's the right way around. Nope, the solder joint like that, with the wires going through it. If you look that way, it's covered up, but they want it with the wires facing up, and they go just through that little lip that you can see there. So they go on like that, and then the next piece we need is this piece here, and that gets slotted. I'm just going to check, make sure there's no lip on this. No, there isn't. So it gets slotted over the top, just like that. So obviously that cut out is to protect those wires and stop them from getting pinched. And now what we do is we secure this down with two of the EP screws that we got in this issue. They do, as always, as I mentioned with Hachette partworks, they do always give you a spare screw, at least one spare screw. It's very nice of them, because these screws are small, and the last thing you want is to drop one and them not to be a spare. So there we go, that's that piece done, looking just like that. So the next thing we need is the inside of the funnel, with the filter in it that we worked last time. So that's the second smoke generator, and all we're doing is pushing that in here, thus. And that's all they want us to do at this stage with that. So we put that to one side. Okay, so next we need the top of the funnel that came in this issue, and we need this piece that came in the previous issue. I believe it was issue 17 this came in, and with the detailed section facing up the way, because if you look, it's flat on one side and it has details protruding on the other. It's not very clear in the pictures, but you can just about see that they want the detailed sections to be facing down, so it slots over just like that. That basically is where all the rigging points will tie onto at a later date. Okay, and the next thing we need is the second funnel, and I have it right here. And obviously there's a slot there, and there's a tab there, and we're just going to push these two together, thus. And that creates the second funnel up to the same stage that we're at with the first. Now the next thing it wants me to do is put the grill across the top, but I'm not going to do that at this point. There's not a great deal of point to doing so because they don't stay in. They just continually fall out. So I'm going to leave it out just now, and we'll come back to fitting it later on. Okay, so next we're opening up this pack, which contains one set of funnel details. They are both identical, so what they've done is they've supplied one set in each pack so that you don't lose track of what's what. So essentially what you have in here is the forward and aft water pipe. The forward one is slightly longer than the aft one because obviously they go on opposite sides. We have the ladders that go up the front. We have the platform that goes in as well, and we also have the steam whistles, which they're not quite right, but I'm not going to argue about that one. I could paint them, I don't think I'm going to. But yeah, so the first thing we're doing is taking the aft, as I say, it's the slightly shorter of the two, so it's this one here, the aft water pipe, and just pushing it in to the 3 holes that you can see on the back of the funnel. Now, I will judge how tight this is, whether I'm going to use super glue or not to hold it in. That seems to hold itself in quite well. The only thing I am finding is that the lip on that, the rigging post is forcing it out slightly, so it doesn't stick in all the way. I don't know if it's supposed to right enough. Well, looking at the pictures it's not, so that's probably correct. Looking just like that. So there is a slight gap, but that's right because it won't allow you to push it in any further than that. Now the next thing it wants is the same thing with the front pipe, which as we say is the slightly longer one of the two. Again, just push it in nicely. You don't want to be forcing it. There we go. Just like that. And then it's the platform, which is this piece here. There is a locating tab on it. If I can find it. Yes. And basically there's a slot on the front, and this will slot in to that, just like now. Actually, they've got the instructions wrong way around here. They've told me to put this in first, but that's not going to work because this needs to go in like this. Fortunately, I noticed that, and it's not that tight a fit, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue into that slot there, just like that. And then you can see that slot and the tab on the back there, because the section's curved. I looked at it and it didn't look right, so I went back and checked the picture, and yeah, they've got it the wrong way around in the instructions, but there we go. No harm done. That's the platform on, and now I think I will just put a little bit of super glue in these 3 holes here, just to hold the water release pipe in place, because the last peg isn't particularly far down, so it's just to make it a bit more stable. There we go, those 2 are in, and the top one is in as well, and it looks just like that, looking very nice. The next part, I believe, is going to be the steam whistles themselves, and the 3 pegs on this are going to fit into the 3 holes on there. So just looking, you can see the steam whistle there. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll slot that in. Okay, so the Airfix modeler got the better of me. The black section, as you can just see there on the steam valve, is actually meant to be brass. It's not meant to be black. I have a perfect colour here in Retributor Armour from Citadel Miniatures, so I am going to paint the steam whistle the right colour. So yep, nice and easy. And I've been building models long enough to know that if I don't do something, I will regret it later. And since this is all glued in and it's covered with ladders and stuff, it might not be that visible, but I would know and it would annoy me. So there you go. They are now brass, the way the steam whistles were on the actual model. So I'll give them a few moments to dry and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so brass steam whistles now all nice and dry. They are going into those 3 tiny little holes that you can see on there. So line them up nicely, because if you try and push this too hard, it's just going to break. And that's not going to be good for anybody. But it looks like that when it's done. I think that looks really good. Awesome. And the final piece is this ladder, and it goes into all the remaining holes. So this, again, I'm going to put a little bit of glue into these holes, just being very, very careful. Again, this is just a hand drill with a bent paper clip in the end of it. It's nothing fancy, but it does the job really, really well, and it means that I just don't put glue everywhere, because the funnels are a really, really visible part of the model, and you want them to be covered in super glue splash. So there we go, and there we go. Okay, again, I'll do the top ones first. Line them all up, all the way down, and push them in. The pegs should fit into the holes quite neatly. No, it's not liking it. Oh, in fact the steam whistles have just fallen out. Give me 2 minutes, I'll fix that and show you what it looks like. Okay, so that's what the funnel looks like with the ladder and everything in place. Now, obviously, there is a second funnel. I'm not going to make you sit and watch me doing all that for the second one, but obviously we already have the smoke generator sitting inside that one. So all I'm going to do is do the exact same as we've done, fit all these pieces, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, and there is funnel number 2. And you can just see the brass steam valves there. Well, that was funnel number 1, but it was the second one I did, just to confuse everyone. Okay, so with them both done, we now need to bring this section over, which of course we put the grand staircase dome and everything on last time. And we now need to find all these pieces here. And now we need to identify which is which. So I will begin said identification. And once I know, because there's one in this other bag, which comes for some reason with 2 vents in it when I've already got one, but hey ho. So I'll identify which of these is which, because they are all slightly different, and I'll come back in just a second. Okay, so I've got them here. They are G, H, I, J and K. So the one I need is H. And it is going into these 2 wee holes that you can see there. Now it does lean, and it's to lean towards what's going to be the stern. So we're not gluing it at this point in time. We're just told to push fit. And I'm going to look at that. Yeah, it does lean indeed backwards. Perfect. So now we need the front section of the deck. We've not seen this for a little while. And what we're basically doing is G and K, these 2. G first. It is going in to these 2 holes that you can just see there. It's going in there with the kind of paper clippy part, if you want to call it that way facing to the port. So it's going in like this. I mean, the way it's shaped will give you a hint, but don't rely on it fully because it may have been bent in shipping. But that's what that looks like. And part K goes next to it into, I believe it's these 2 holes here. Yeah, is indeed. And part K is this one, which is more like a croquet hoop, and it's going in here and here, like that, and again it should lean backwards naturally anyway, again just like that, and it does so. I'm just going to check that is indeed correct, because no, it is. That is indeed correct. It just doesn't look it to me. But what do I know? There we go. That's better. It just wasn't lined up properly with the holes. I think their intention is for you to glue it down once you actually fit the funnel to it, because until you fit the funnel, it's kind of guesswork as to whether it'll sit properly. And then the last 2 are I and J. I's the other one that looks like a paper clip, and it's going, let me just look. So yeah, turned it around now, it's going here, again with the kind of paper clippy bit facing to the port. See? Yep. Just checking because you don't want to be putting bits in the wrong way. There we go. That's going in just like that. And then the final piece is this piece here, which is kind of the bendiest one, and it's going into the hole next to it, with the leg with the bend highest up to the starboard side. So like that. So they should look like this. And that, quite a lot to do today, but that is everything there is to do for that stage. Okay, so that's us for issue 19 of Titanic, the Ship, the Legend. What's coming in issue 20? Well, some more electrics, a tiny little decking section, some details, our very first photo etch parts, and an LED. I'm not going to tell you what it lights up just yet though. But yep, that's all for issue 19. Pretty impressed with how it's looking. And again, ease of storage and to save anything breaking, I've put everything back together. And that is how it looks. Look at that. That's just, it's absolutely phenomenal. As you can see, it links together nicely, and you can see the front two funnels, the details. Again, disclaimer, not supposed to fit the funnels at this stage, but I think it's better to have the funnels there to protect those big hoops that I just put in than to not have them and risk them getting damaged. So yeah, thanks for watching. Again, any feedback, comments, complaints or criticisms, leave them down below. If you like the video, leave me a like. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and you'll be notified of when new videos go live. But as always guys, thanks for watching, and again, peace out.